Hello, fellow surveyors, Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to RimWorld Odyssey Grav Runners. Episode 41, Making Sure We're Truly Ready. As you can see above my head, we're going to continue to prepare for the Mech Hive, and what that means to me is to make sure that we have an absolute ridiculous abundance of uranium. Uranium is going to allow us to punch through the Mech Hive's centipedes and the like. So I think that's going to be really important. The other thing that I wanted to research is mortars. And the reason for this is having the ability to set IEDs, especially EMP IEDs, might be pretty crucial. Now, we do have 4 members that are currently sick with the plague. So Glitch, Ruinloth, Turtle, and I think Puik all have the plague. And as a result, they're going to need some R&R before we're really able to go. So some of the things I intend to do, besides researching mortars, is also I would like to try to get better armor. I had identified last stream that Puik's armor and I think Klein's armor, Fangface's armor, they're all about to be tattered. And I'd like to avoid the tattered designation, meaning it's going to be important for us to address that. Another thing is we do have a Grav core right now. And I was thinking of, because we only have like 11 tiles left to add, I was going to build a field extender just so that I had more field extending to play with. It doesn't really matter where it goes. I just need to add it to the max. So we have the our lovely members here on rest. The other thing I could do is to get a little bit of a wood chop so that we get even more chem fuel. So I don't think I'm going to bother going to the ancient stockpile, and this ancient stockpile is for drugs. But what I do want to do is to fight this insect hive to gain access to the uranium ore so that we can stockpile uranium for our slug turrets. Because once we park on the Mech Hive, I have 10 slug turrets, and I suspect some of them are going to blow up. They're going to need to be rearmed. It's going to be expensive. So making sure that we have all the resources we need for slug turrets is going to be important. I've also identified the next hop, which is just going to be adjacent. I would like to stockpile a little bit on Psychoid. And the reason is being up in space and being drafted and having to fight for a long, long time is pretty draining on the mood. And we do have a lot of beer. We have 56 beer, but we don't have a lot of tea. We only have 12. So I think it's going to be important for us to stockpile on that. The reason I'm not going to go in here is the drug stockpiles. Well, I mean, I guess we could. But the drug stockpiles typically have like harder drugs, like luciferium and flake, and not like tea. But perhaps I'm wrong. Perhaps it does have tea. So we'll go into it anyway. So Klein is making Puik some spare armor. The other thing I can do once the armor comes off the line is to have a trade. I have lots of trade goods on the boat, and to sell the old armor for ideally more plasteel, because plasteel is really going to be the bottleneck here with all of the recon armor that we want to make. Because each recon armor is what, like 80 plasteel, something like that. Yeah, 80 plasteel. So I only really have enough plasteel for like one more recon armor after this batch, and that's simply not enough. We have, unfortunately, both of our doctors got sick. Both Glitch and Ruinloth have the flu, so they have to get out of bed and tend one another, but we're using industrial meds, so it should be fine. Is there any way, besides Caravan, to make pawns carry drugs on them? Yeah. If you go to the drug policy here, and you say keep an inventory, you can say, hey, keep 1 Slycut T in your inventory all the time. Or keep 1 Ambrosia in your inventory all the time. Keeping in mind, of course, that lowers their caravan weight. So, like, if you're transport podding a pawn, or putting them in the Grav shuttle, or, you know, a shuttle, the weight of all the things they carry adds to the total capacity. I typically don't have them carry drugs on them all the time, but it might not be a bad call once we're up in space, because long periods of being drafted and conscripted can be really draining. It isn't a feature I use frequently, but I probably should use it more often than I am. So we're waiting on the 4 who are ill to recover, trying to stock up on our chem fuel, and then once we have our 4 shooters that are currently sick recovered, I'll clear out this insect hive to gain access to the uranium, and maybe to hack into the ancient stockpile. One thing I could do is, let's do this. Line. I'm going to have you hack the ancient stockpile before you make the recon armor. The recon armor isn't really a rush. So there's a bunch of other things I wanted to do in preparation. One is that I might make our ship a little bit more broadside and replace these 2 mini turrets on this side with autocannon turrets, so that when I go up into space and I can park our port starboard, I don't even know which side this is. Technically speaking, the pilot console goes this way, so this would be port, but like, I think we take off this way, so this would be starboard. I don't even know. But basically, arming up one side of our ship more than the other, so that when we are defending against waves of mechs, we have one side that is like particularly well armored. I think that would be a wise idea. And to that end, I might move these mini turrets in. So let's go ahead and do that now. It's going to ruin the symmetry, but like, I honestly don't really care. Survival is much more important to me. Taking a look at the vacuum safe zoning, that still looks right. And the ship zoning, I'll just like extend here. The home zone I just fixed. And then I'm going to put these turrets inside in case we get like pod drop raiders into the ship. We already have turrets back here. We have turrets here, but a bunch of turrets in the main room should help to keep us a little bit more protected. Granted, mini turrets don't do very much. The other thing we could do is once we're up in space, we could run power lines from our ship out to the mech platform to install mini turrets outside. The purpose is if we install the mini turrets further than the minimum fire distance of our big turrets, it keeps the enemies away from swarming our big guns, so the big guns can still fire. So that's another thing that I could do with the 6 mini turrets that are uninstalled inside the ship. Oh, that is perfect. Compacted plasteel asteroid. And it's basically right above us. I was just mentioning I really wanted plasteel, so that kind of works. Yeah. Thank you, orbital scanner. You the best. I'm going to turn off the orbital scanner and the long-range mineral scanner as we no longer need them. And taking a look at our sick, we've got 49 over 76, 42 over 64, who needs tending, 40 over 92, almost recovered, and 45 over 75. So nobody is in any imminent danger or anything like that. Totally fine. Let's hope the plasteel asteroid has more plasteel than the rich tile. Well, this is a compacted plasteel asteroid. It should have more. It's not like the other asteroids that have trace. Ultimately, I don't need a ton. I just need enough for like our recon armor. And I could also trade for it too. Granted, there isn't a lot of trade to be done immediately around us. We might need to hop closer to these 2 cities. Because I don't know if the... Actually, let's check right now. Hey, turtle. Hop in the pod. Oh yeah, they're within range. So we could go on a trade run up there. With that in mind, I'll load up some of our weaker leathers. And honestly, the wools, because we don't really need to stay warm up in space as much. Luciferium. And we can bring that up to our trade partners. All of the reject swords. It's harsh to call them that, but that's literally what they are. And some of the worn out armor. Marine armor 56, definitely could get rid of. I'd also like to hunt for Insanity Lances. When we're going trading, because Insanity Lances are ridiculously strong against mechs, because if you hit a centipede with an Insanity Lance, it gives you a bullet sponge, which can turn the tide of an entire fight. Cheers! So Klein's almost got that thing open. I'm not sure if he'll be detected and locked out, but we'll see. And then once Ruinloth is fully recovered from his plague, I'll have him go on the trade run, because he's the only one with the... Well, Good has pretty high social skills, too. Yeah, let's just do it with Good. Get in the shuttle. Launch. And we'll go to the further one. Allow me. And I'm sure there's other things I could have traded for, but this is fine. All right, bringing in another 144 plasteel is great. And they do have an Insanity Lance, which is exactly what I was after. So I could not be any more pleased. I might buy a few beers as well. Just to make sure that we have, like, lots of beer for us. I do have a bunch of soothers already, so I'm not going to bother with the soothers. But that was exactly the kind of trade I was hoping for, so that's fantastic. Alright, launch. Returning home. It's not to say that I'm not going to bother going to the plasteel asteroid. It's very likely that we lose a bunch of autocannon turrets in trying to defend against the Mech Hive. So having a massive supply of extra stuff really works to my benefit. So as soon as Puig is done with the plague, which is going to be in like seconds, maybe I'll wait until his or her plague numbers are a little bit lower, but we'll go down into the ancient stockpile. Oh, that sucks. Psychic droner. We'll go down into the stockpile and see what kind of drugs they have there. So, social drugs. Let's fix this. Frequency every 2 days. If mood was below, let's say also 60%. Now that we have a more beer to play with, I can, you know, rely on it. I should also keep an eye on our fox and our cat to make sure they're not, like, hammering beers, because we did catch Pierogi doing that with, like, what was he? He was eating something weird. Go juice? Maybe? I forget what it was, but he like straight up had a heart attack from the drugs he was consuming. It was wake up? Okay, yeah. Alright, so Glitch, immune. Ruinloth is almost immune. I think in Ruinloth's case, I am not going to tend with the best stuff, because, like, there's 3% tending left. Immune and immune. So everyone is going to be immune come morning, which is perfect. So I'll have the gunners clear this out to get the uranium and then go into the stockpile. So the current priority really is stockpile for the Mech Hive. I'm technically it's still preparing, but what I'm trying to do is stockpile like drugs and munitions and guns and the like. So yeah. Alright, 2 more guns. 2 more autocannon turrets on the bow. I can't decide whether it's port or starboard, but either way, it's the bow. We'll get that built. And then when I'm parking, I'm going to park this side towards hostiles. So that we have lots of guns. So as soon as Runloth is up... Oh, you know what? He's awake enough. Time to rally the gunners. Wait, don't fire yet. Wait for others. And we're trying to clear out the uranium. Because uranium slug turrets burn through uranium like you would not believe. Fine. Don't be shooting the Hive. Come on. I like how he immediately started shooting the Hive out. It's like, dude, there's like active hostiles. Maybe prioritize them. And the clearing a Hive will help a little bit with the mood. But looking at good, I don't know how much it's going to help. Maybe a little. We'll see. Alright, there's one of the two guns. This will also reduce our steel count. So once we get the uranium, I might want to stockpile on steel as well. There's a steel node just like adjacent to me, which makes it pretty easy. The other thing I could do for the females that are suffering from the mood is go into the stockpile. I think it has a different subset of droners. Yeah, the droners are not present down here, as you can see. So this is like a good way to avoid droners. Oh, but not corpses. Hey, Runloth. Frickin' rude. Opened the door and it was immediately just dead body. And glitch. Because I need someone to hack the doors too. A dump there. No, don't go touching dead bodies. You're already in a bad enough mood. I mean, the mood is obviously massively recovering now. There. You bored? Go bash some rubble. Basically, I told Puig to go kick rocks. Alright, glitch, you hack there. Puig, you go through here. So this is the drug stockpile. Oh, that's why we send Puig in. Wow. 2-shot. And maybe there'll be drugs that are useful to us. We will see. Seems to be a theme. Whatever drug lord set this facility up sure has a lot of turrets protecting his drugs. Okay, another dead body, but it's not really in my way. And I'm also clearing a path so that I have free movement. So if I have to flee from like a hunter drone or something like that, I can easily. Alright, found the drugs. There's a wasp trap and a hunter trap. Oh, the wasp trap got triggered. Alright, Puig, hold your ground. Wow, okay, that was easy. How are we going to do with the hunter trap that doesn't blow up drugs? And, as suspected, it's Flake, Yayo, and Luciferium. So not the kind of drugs that you do for fun, the kind of drugs that, that use you instead. I'm going to clear a little bit of a path so we have free movement around so that I can clear the hunter trap. Come on. Oh my god. You're cordially invited to move. There we go. So I wanted to just mention, I am fully aware of this function. I received honestly far too many comments about it to the point where it got a little annoying. Yes, you are fully able to exit your stockpile this way. The reason I don't use this is twofold. One, or actually 3 reasons. One, my pawns don't want to see corpses. If you exit a stockpile like that, you're not controlling where the pawn goes, which means they might see corpses. They also might, like, wander into a new room and trigger a turret or something like that. Reason number 2, they haul piecemeal. They haul 1 stack at a time. And if I could instead just shove all of this in all at once until carry weight is maxed, and that's a lot fewer trips. And finally, 3, they don't actually haul it. What they do is they dump it outside on the ground, and then people have to haul it 1 at a time from the stockpile to the ship to the stockpile to the ship. Obviously, if you have a mod like pick up and haul, that changes the equation a little bit, but I don't have pick up and haul. I don't ever use it. So yes, I fully know that you can exit stockpiles that way. It's just a much, 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 much slower method, and sloppier method than the micromanagement method, in my opinion, for all the reasons I just mentioned. And yes, these can all become trade goods for local communities so that we can buy more plasteel. So instead of having to make, how many stacks was that? 24 trips? I make 2 trips. All it requires is a little bit more clicking. Not really a problem. So there's a lot of reasons I don't use that method. But yeah, I mean, obviously I knew it existed because it's the same exact way that Anomaly works with the caves. Boom. Now, what we got in here? Gravelite panels. Another body. And gravelite panels. So glitch probably just needs to hack this room, I'd imagine. Ooh, ambrosia. So yeah, we should be almost done with this drug stockpile. Regular old components. Well, that clears out all the debris. Tech prof. That's spicy. Well, we can put it to use researching the Johnson Tanaka drive instantly. That sounds awesome. That's a hell of a lot of research to get instantly. But it does look like Ruinloth, you are going to need to move this corpse out of the way so that our dear Glitch can hack this door without haunted corpse fear. Looks like everyone wants to take a quick bite to eat too. One misclick eating Luciferium instead of carrying it. Isn't there a prompt about Luciferium when you try to consume it? Maybe I'm imagining things, but I thought there was like a "Are you sure?" type of prompt. Apparently I don't do enough drugs to know off the top of my head. And 6 advanced components. Swell. This little stockpile has been pretty good to us. So Roanloth is done moving that corpse, so we have one more room to hack into. How are we doing on the surface? They are collecting wood, turning it into chem fuel. Haven't quite put together the last autocannon turret. And then, of course, I brought all my miners down into the pits with me, so we're not making any progress there, but we will in time. You think there is a prompt? Hey, well, here we go. Ready? Save. Drop. Take. Oh, no, maybe not. He was definitely eating that drug. He was like, ooh, Lucy, don't mind if I do. Guess I didn't need to save, because there is that whole, like, consumption time. But regardless, because it takes time to consume the drug, it's not like an instant, oh no. Although I'm not really sure how that works, to take I envision Luciferium as like the red pill from the Matrix, and you just pop it in your mouth. So, what are you, like, swishing it around or something? Like, what's the timer there? Like, for tea and beer, I get. But for things like Wake Up and Luciferium, seems pill-like. Okay, and we're done. Exit. Undraft. And now instead of having to haul piecemeal one at a time, we just drop all the drugs into the stockpile. Boom. Lovely. Alright, we'll be taking off here for the wild psychoid map tile. Once we get the... I probably won't even wait for the steel, because we'll get steel at the new map tile. So once we get the uranium. Yeah, maybe it's like a child-proof wrapper. That could be. Hadn't thought of that. And the Psychic Runners ended. Nice. Before we lose the tech broth, let's just queue up Johnson Tanaka Drive and use it. Done. Because all it's doing until we use it is adding to colony value. Well, that's unfortunate. We have Ambrosia, like, almost growing on the ship, but we have to leave it behind. Yo, where are you taking those meals? That's, like, not a good spot for meals. There we go, now we're cleaning. Luckily, these glow pods are making it really easy to mine the uranium. Nothing like some organic illumination. We don't really need food. I don't need more, like, food stocks. We'll look pretty good on that front. So... all we're really waiting on is the last of the uranium, and then we'll be on our merry way. There's probably value in... let me look for ore again. There's probably value in, like, killing the other insects. I don't care about silver ore that much. But, again, not a big deal. Like, insect jelly is not gonna make or break the economy. Alright, I think we're all set to take off. Done. And we are launching here first, because there's wild psychoid there. So what I'm hoping to do is stockpile steel and psychoid, so we have lots of tea and lots of steel. I could also try to buy psychoid leaves or psychoid tea, too. That would not be a terrible idea as a way to shortcut it, but at the very least, we'll make sure that we get what we can from the wilds. It's a lot of uranium? Yes, it is. And honestly, I'll probably use most of it. So, there's more uranium ore here. Whole bunch of it down there. Unfortunately, that's kind of like the corner of the map. That's not all that convenient to park near. And then, what about compacted? No plasteel. Alright. I think I'm going to ignore the uranium. I got the uranium I was looking for. So maybe what I'll do is I'll park around here, getting the steel and the psychoid. Possibly the components as well, because EMP IEDs require components to manufacture. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted, well, Actually, you can get EMP IDs not even getting mortars. You can get EMP IDs going for ID tech. So I'll go for ID tech first. That's, I think, going to be ultimately more important to us. So, I just need to spot some wild psychoid. There we go. Wow, there is not a lot of it, though. It is sparse. Meh, we'll do what we can. Alright, let's do another trade run. The reason why I don't really care too much about silver is the actual amount of silver that you mine out of silver nodes is a very small amount compared to the, you know, the silver that you use for trading and whatnot. That's why you'll see me like pass up silver often. Because like a giant node of it is like a few hundred silver, which is not much silver in the scheme of things. Oh, you know what? I might not have loaded the drugs up. Yayo and Flake. That's a lot of Yayo and Flake. I'm gonna get to this new colony and be like, hey, so I've got these drugs I found in a dingy basement. You want them? Just don't ask where they came from. I can't tell you because I blew up the facility. I did queue them up to mine, but we're prioritizing the steel first. All right. Importantly, they do have plasteel. What else they got? Instating Lance? Good deal. Come on. The reason I did is I figured we might end up mining it, having mined all the steel out before we could even relaunch, and that is exactly true. As you can see, as I said, it's only a few hundred steel. We'll probably get like 350 out of this, or 370 out of this. Which is, I mean, it's some, but it's like not that much. Compared to the trade value I just traded for, which was like 2K or something like that. It is free, though. So. Anything... So, of all the preparation I wanted to do, really the last of it, I would say... Oh, a Balkus trader. Is to make the recon armor. So we've yet to make the recon armor with Klein. So what I'm going to do is, Klein, you are going to be smithing over everything else. Because I don't want to start the fight and then have my, like, armor break down. That would be a real problem. And then we haven't gotten a lot of, psychoid either. So maybe I'll buy it if they sell it. Actually, there was a chance for me to buy it at those, probably. I wasn't even looking for it at the colonies that we just visited. It wasn't on my radar of things to buy. Should have been, though. I don't think we're going to need dusters going into space, so I'm just going to sell the dusters. And for the dusters, let's buy... nothing. I'll just have your silver. So we got about 1,000 uranium and 2,000 steel, and that, I hope, is enough. The other thing that I can mine while I'm here is the components, because as I said, the EMP IDs are components. And then as far as EMP weapons go, I think I will opt for EMP grenades over an EMP launcher. I already have an EMP launcher. But if I'm not mistaken, the EMP grenades are faster. They're Cooldown time is 2.66 seconds, and the cooldown timer for this is 3.5. So one has a longer range, one fires faster, and firing faster is going to be a lot more important. The purpose of all of this, if you're wondering, so a little spoiler, but in the Voidborn series, doing the Mech Hive, one of the attack waves was all Scythers, and it really messed us up. It's very difficult to deal with a giant swarm of Scythers when you don't have like an animal pulsar or like calling in friendlies or and those things are just not things you can do up in space. There's no friendlies, there's no animals to pulse. And Sand Lances only work so far because each individual Scyther isn't particularly tough. It's just when you're fighting like 30 to 50 of them, that's a problem. So there's not a lot of so there's a few ways to counter them. EMP mines and EMP grenades is a good one, especially when paired with a choke point. Because if you have a choke point, Scythers can't move past an EMP'd Scyther, so that you can sort of trickle them through a choke point 1 or 2 at a time, which is a lot more manageable than like 30 at once. So what I'm trying to do here is to prepare for worst case scenario of like having to deal with a lot of Scythers. Yeah. Alright, so here's what I'm going to do. Recon armor is going to only be made by Klein. Same with advanced components. But Turtle has a crafting of 4. Is that enough to make EMP shells? 4! Ha-ha! There we go. Hey, Turtle, guess what? You get to make EMP shells. Maybe not 100. But let's do 20. Once the EMP grenades are done. And this is part of the preparation as well. Have I ever made furniture or sculptures and floors from silver? I have. Okay, EMP tech is done. The EMP grenades are getting there. Looks like we'll have about 600 chem fuel. So I think the other thing I could do is maybe stockpile a little bit more wood for chem fuel, so that I have a nice stock chem fuel going forward. So Turtle should... Yeah, there he goes. Be making EMP shells. Perfect. Which is very component and steel heavy, which is all the more reason to stockpile components. I feel like we are doing a really good job prepping for the scary Mech Hive. Really, Klein? 1 work left? Dude. So let's take a quick gander at the armor. Glitch's 71% armor should be okay. He does have worn out shirt and pants, but not too big of a deal there because they're manufactured quick. Good's shirt is basically in tatters. I'm gonna wake her up and just give her a new one now. Same is true of Ruinloth's shirt, but everything else that Ruinloth is wearing is fine. So I'll wake him up, give him a new shirt. Turtle needs new armor. And another shirt. Oh my god. So many shirts. What the shirt? Okay, tailor bench. Let's plug that in too. So forget dusters, but yeah, shirts and pants, obviously a must. So that was Turtle. Fangface, you need armor. That's about it. Klein, you need probably armor and pants. And then Puig, you need shirt, pants. So, yeah, we're getting there. I'm just making sure that, like, we aren't starting a big fight naked. Because, like, that would be a problem. Especially up in space. So the real danger is, like, I'm probably going to change my apparel policy so that nobody takes off their clothing. Because if they, like, if it gets tattered and they just, like, tear off their helmet in space, you die. And pawns aren't, like, smart enough not to do that. So I'm going to be manually arranging what they're wearing, forcing it, so that there isn't a case where they're like, ha ha! Oh, asphyxiate, right? Because I can 100% see that happening. And without, you know, psycasts and jetpacks and things like that, I can't get them to safety quick. So I need to make sure that they're not dumb. Cheers. Apparently that's been fixed in a new update. Oh, that's good to know. It also means that we're going to have a lot of extra armor left over for potential sale. Unfortunately, I'm not that close. I'm not close enough to Pepperwick to trade with them. So, you know what? I have really good rep with Pepperwick. Why not have them come to us? Trade bulk goods. That makes a lot more sense. Thank you for tuning in to RimWorld Odyssey Grav Runners, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, fellow Grav Runners.